Live at Ola Hansen Lane at Tesano. My name is Michael Obodu. Coming up. Counting underway night. National Democratic Congress NDC members of parliament pick up nomination forms to contest upcoming primaries with the hope of securing victory in the 2024 general elections.
I have started a process and I need more than the one term to do it.
The people will repose the trust they have in us to continue to represent them in parliament.
And later, National Executive Committee of the People's National Convention, PNC, calls for unity amongst disgruntled members following internal wrangling over allegations of misconduct and financial malfeasance.
Was refused totally by the plaintiffs.
Reverend Dr. Steven Wangam inducted as new General Superintendent of Assemblies of God Church, Ghana.
The conflict is potentially corrosive to Ghana's reputation. No efforts should be spared at containing the hypersensitive and supremely complex situation which threatens to cascade into security challenges of unthinkable proportions.
Thank you for tuning in, and straight to our first story. Counting is underway in Nigeria after close of polls on Saturday to elect a successor to President Muhammadu Buhari. It is tightly contested election with three forerunners vying to govern Africa's most populous democracy after a ballot hit by delays and isolated violence. For the first time since the end of military rule in 1999, a third serious candidate has emerged to challenge the dominance of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, and the main opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP. The race sees former Lagos State Governor and APC candidate Bola Tinubu facing PDP's Atiku Abubakar, a former Vice President, and surprise third candidate, Labour Party's Peter Obi. Let's bring you live updates as the counting on ballots continue. Joining me live from Nigeria is investigations and data editor of Premium Times, Taiwo Hassan Adebayo. Well, thank you for joining us here on Citi TV, Mr. Adebayo. Please tell us, what is the general mood, first of all, in Nigeria right now as we speak?
Yeah, thank you very much. Nigeria's presidential and National Assembly elections were held today between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. But in some places, because of the delay in delivery of voting materials, the voting exercise was extended. So generally in Nigeria right now, the voting has ended virtually in all places. And what is going on now is collation of results across polling units. So after the polling units collation, after the counting of votes at the polling units, then it will go to the ward level, from ward level to the local government level, state level, then to Abuja, which is the federal level.
Okay, you spoke about some isolated cases.
So what we are having now is the earliest stage of the collation exercise now.
Okay, you spoke about some isolated cases where they weren't able to end their polls at 2 p.m. What accounted for these developments?
Yeah, a number of factors. The location of some places, maybe they are far removed from urban centers, logistic issues generally, as the Electoral Commission has explained. But also in some places too, there were cases of violence in some places, which ensured that the voting could not start early or voting was stalled until the time that security agents were mobilized to such areas to restore order.
Okay, we have seen some videos circulating on social media about pockets of violence at some of the stations. Can you tell us what really happened, if you have any info on that?
Yeah, I spoke with your colleague earlier. Secure and violence-free election remains a challenge in Nigeria and Africa writ large. So the isolated cases like that, we still have them in election, unfortunately, in this year's election too. So basically, despite all the efforts, the innovations brought by the Electoral Commissioner, you still have politicians for whom winning an election is a matter of do or die, is a matter of life and death. So they would just see violence as a sort of rigging an election. So basically what happens is that if, as a politician, you understand that in an area you are not likely to win there, so your bet would be to use talks to disrupt voting in such area. And wherever election cannot hold as a result of violence or anything, the voting there will be cancelled.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears the security challenges were not as much as in previous elections. What's your take on that?
Yes, absolutely. Things keep getting better, but unfortunately, we have still seen some isolated cases where you still have violence. But definitely, things keep getting better, and of course, also because you have a case now where people show zeal, people show commitment to protecting their own votes.
Voting ended at about 2 p.m. your time. I'm sure now it's past 9 p.m. where you are. What would you say would be happening at the various polling stations as we speak?
Yeah, collation exercise is going on right now across the country. So basically summing the vote from polling units together at the ward level, then ward level to the local government, and from there to state level, and finally to the Federal Collation Center in Abuja. So what's going on right now is collation of results across the country.
Okay, I'm sure you are an experienced journalist who have been covering Nigeria's elections over the period. What would you say is your overall assessment of this year's election?
The official figures are still being awaited, but when I went around Abuja this morning, I saw good level of turnout, so I expect that the turnout will be higher than what we had in the previous elections. Then from reports I've got from other parts of the country, the turnout was also high. Yeah. So I think in terms of turnout, I expect something better. And also in terms of credibility too, because of the technology that has now been deployed. I mean, electronic accreditation and more importantly, electronic collation of results. The trust people invested in this year's election, it's also higher, and that influenced the level of turnout that we have seen. But then, like I said earlier, we are still expecting official turnout figures.
Okay, let me put you a bit on the spot here. We have Tinubu, Atiku, and the new kid on the block, Peter Obi. Where are you putting your money? I've seen a lot of social media posts that are seeming to imply that Peter Obi is winning at a lot of the centers. What are you picking on the grounds yourself?
Yeah, honestly, what we have also said that is different from the previous election now is that we now have a highly competitive election. And from what we have seen so far, it looks like there's no certainty. One of these three guys would be Nigeria's president from May 29, one of them. Because you have the Labour Party's Peter Obi, whom some people dismissed as a no contester just month before now, riding very high. In the north, you see Atiku Abubakar, and in some places in the south, you see Bola Tinubu. So right now, there is no certainty. Nobody can tell you that certainly this is the person that would win. It's a very competitive election. I think it's good for the country. It's good for our democracy. You know, one of the three key principles of liberal democracy is legitimacy, competition, and participation. So that's competition. We have seen it, and it's so great to see.
All right, thank you so much, Taiwo Hassan Adebayo. He is the Investigations and Data Editor of Premium Times. Thank you so much for the updates, and we'll be reaching out to you for more information from the Nigerian election. But we'll move away from that now and come to our home country. And some National Democratic Congress NDC members of parliament who have picked up nomination forms to contest in the upcoming parliamentary primaries in the constituencies have expressed hope of retaining their seats. This follows the opening of nominations for presidential and parliamentary primaries in some constituencies on the 22nd of February 2023 by Citi News' Philip Nilati. Some of the MPs highlighted some key developments within their jurisdictions due to their interventions.
The National Democratic Congress on February 22 opened its portals for individuals who are interested in becoming parliamentary candidates on the tickets of the NDC to pick up their nomination forms. The period for the picking up of the nomination forms started from February 22 and is expected to end on February 24. On the Citi Newsroom, I'll engage some of these interested persons who are hoping to be parliamentary candidates in the various constituencies.
They've seen what I've done, and there's a certain narrative out there that Adenta constituency is a one-term constituency where everybody does just one term and it's changed. I don't agree with that assertion. It's not entirely correct. When you look at the figures, it doesn't suggest that. NDC hasn't repeated any candidate twice since 2004 when the elections, when the constituency was created. So for 2004 we had a different candidate. For 2008 elections we had a different candidate. For 2012 we had a different candidate. But for the first time, Adenta repeated a candidate twice. NDC repeated a candidate twice between 2016 and 2020, and they saw the dividends of that.
I picked the forms yesterday, and I didn't only pick, I filed accordingly. And my prayer is that things should fall in their places and I'll be able to win the primaries. I'm a first-timer, and first-timer with opposition in Parliament. But I didn't use that as an excuse. And I didn't come to add up only to the numbers too. To my own estimation, I performed. And if you could go to my area and ask the people, score.
One of the reasons why I even contested in the first place is because, and I've said this on your platform, if you recall, that in the 9 constituencies in the southern part of the Volta region, no woman had ever represented the people in Parliament. And I thought that was not a good impression we have made of ourselves as women from the southern part of the Volta region. So in 2019, I put myself up to do that, to break that jinx and to make that crack in the ceiling. I was successful, and 2 years down the line, the party has decided that even though it's not yet 4 years, we should contest the elections again. I have started a process, and I need more than the one term to do it. I'm particularly interested in the human capital development of my people.
We all know that the NDC has open nomination. Let me also mention that the form that I paid was paid for by friends who are Dagabes and lobbyists in the Bole Bamboy constituency. And so if today my brothers who for some reasons we've been able to work together, some of them have gotten jobs through our efforts, and some of them are friends. Today they have also mobilized to pay for my filing fee. I can only register my appreciation and to thank them sincerely for this honor done me. Clearly it tells you that we are on the ground and that the people will repose the trust they have in us to continue to represent them in Parliament. I want to ask that as they contribute to my success, they contribute to my effort to represent the people, they also work hard on the ground to ensure that His Excellency, the former president's votes will increase, whilst we also retain the seat.
I'd want to appeal to them. 2 years down the line, we've been able to do a few things, and I want to assure them that the 2 years that is left, even though we are going for primaries, when given the nod, or even with the 2 years that is left, there's a library project that I'm going to undertake, and so the land is about to be ready. You know, in the city, most of the time we have issues of land, and so the land will be ready soon, and I believe that by the close of this year, we'll get that project started. And there are areas like the La General Hospital where I keep talking about be done about it. And so when they vote for me again, they should be rest assured that as I began with them, we are going to continue to make sure that Dade Kotopong will get to where it has to get to.
Yeah, I'll make strive in terms of intervention in health, in terms of apprenticeship program, in terms of job creation, giving skills training to the people, looking at my people, what work they have been doing in terms of in Kitalagun. We are talking about schools, educational reforms, and then in terms of renovation of some schools, health facilities, and then this, not by my might, is by His grace, as well as NGOs who are very kind to get the constituency to support us to achieve that within these 2 weeks, so 2 years.
These aspiring parliamentary candidates want the delegates to vote for them to become parliamentary candidates and also move on to become members of parliament within these constituencies on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Philip Nii Latte.
The National Executive Committee of the People's National Convention, PNC party, is calling for reconciliation of its aggrieved members following internal wrangling that emerged with the former flag bearer and chairman of the party, David Asibi Apasara, and Moses Daniba, respectively, on grounds of misconduct and financial malfeasance. The following report, filed by Daniel Odro Mensah and read by Netinelete, has more.
The PNC party has had its flow of activities hampered as a result of the National Executive Committee dismissing its former leader and chairman, David Asibi Apasara and Moses Daniba, on grounds of misconduct and financial malfeasance in 2021. This resulted in the General Secretary of the party, Janet Nabila, petitioning the Criminal Investigative Department, CID, to investigate the two party executives. In the petition, Janet Nabila alleged that 1.7 million Ghana cedis raised to support the party in the 2020 election was withdrawn and squandered without her knowledge and approval. According to her, the act was a clear violation of Article 49B of the party's constitution, which requires that a NEC meeting is held to deliberate on issues concerning elections, fundraising, management of funds for the national elections, both for the presidential and parliamentary elections. The NEC noted that the two former party executives who filed an application for a court injunction on the party's activities was rejected by an Accra High Court. Vice Chairman of the party, Henry Haruna Asante, spoke at a press conference on Saturday.
Ladies and gentlemen, the party has extended an olive branch to all disgruntled members to come back for the good of the party. In the wisdom of the party, rancor and bitterness is not the ultimate. So an olive branch was taken today, a decision was taken today to throw up an olive branch to all disgruntled members of the party to come back, so that in unity lies strength. Those who will abide and listen must do. Those who says no, the party has done its best in throwing the olive branch. I pray and hope that they should listen in good faith, because the numbers are very important. You can force the horse to the river side, but you can never force the horse to drink its water.
Meanwhile, the General Secretary, Janet Nabila, said the PNC has been instrumental in offering its ideas to shape the country's development.
16 regions in the country, and out of these 16 regions, 14 of the regions were here. Only 2 regions were not able to be present today. 2 regions that were not able to come. As my vice chairman has stated, is a formidable political party that have come to deliver the people of Ghana from its economic woes. This is a political party, whilst in the opposition, have helped anytime the need arises. Where we were supposed to come out with policies to help Ghanaians, we have not denied the people of Ghana. There have been a lot of economic downturn in the country. People have been crying. And we did not only come out to criticize the government, but we provided solutions.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom on Citi TV, still to come. 29 illegal miners operating in the Akwa Ibom municipality of the Eastern Region arrested by the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners Task Force. We'll bring you the details shortly. Please stay with us.
Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Yeah, welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. Let's bring you more stories now. And the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners Task Force has arrested 29 illegal miners operating in the Akwa Ibom municipality of the Eastern Region. The illegal miners, who were arrested following a swoop on 3 separate sites at Achim Prankese and Achim Abodom, had destroyed several acres of cocoa and palm plantations belonging to farmers. Citi News' Nii Armah was with the task force and has more in this report.
as part of commitment made by the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners to ensure that the Brim River in the eastern region restored to its natural state, the task force on Thursday embarked on a special operation in the Kwaibi Brim municipality of the eastern region. The first stop was at Achim Pramkesi and later to Achim Abodom in the Kwaibi Brim municipality. When the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners Task Force got to the site where the illegal miners had diverted the flow of the Brim River and were mining in it, the illegal miners managed to swim across the river to the other side to escape being arrested. They had cleared hundreds of acres of cocoa and palm plantations in the area belonging to innocent farmers. When the team managed to arrest some of the miners, the Kede police commander, DSP Jenim Boateng, appeared at the site together with a man Richard Oheneba Kojo Obing Trafohene of Kede, who is believed to be the owner of the site. DSP Jenim Boateng, however, declined to speak on activities of illegal mining in the area.
No, am I on operation? So what am I going to say? You intervene. So I intervene on what? You came around. They arrested someone and brought them over here, and I only came and make entries. Oh, okay.
Others who were arrested were initially kept at the Pramkesi police station before being transported to the Kibi Divisional Police Command, where they are expected to be processed for court. 2 pump action guns were retrieved from the illegal miners. The commanding officer in charge of the task force, Major Patrick Donchebe, who spoke to Citi News about the exercise, expressed frustration with the interference of some politicians and opinion leaders.
We have a lot of challenges that we are facing through this operation. Some of these, when you fetch arrest, you see that these so-called chiefs, honorables, a lot of people, the opinion leaders, they come inside and they start to beg. But if we say we will listen to this kind of begging, I don't think we can achieve anything. So there are challenges. The chiefs, I don't know, the so-called big men in politics, both everybody used to call, but I'm not giving up. They were doing illegal mining. They were in the Brim River. And I've been given the mandate to operate on the Brim. So as today, anybody on top of Brim, I will arrest you. Because they were on the Brim River, that's why I arrested them.
Some farmers on the farmlands are forcefully being taken away from them by the illegal miners.
Tuano mutu, yenikamaphobia. And Sassana almost said, Wukoku, no Wabeconomo to Tuagu. Uko police station claim Kusishi. In Tibrani Ebre. Higher pa, or say almost say and Sassinina. I buy so say Bruno Mufam Hunchequium, Yenuma and Obeconomo to Tuagu. Unicama Fun Kusishi was Seno. In Tibrani Ebre.
That's when, yeah, in fact, I made Coconina. As I see. Me a media magia me do abe. Ba almost one but one assassin. One that almost assassin. Assassin why? On who has matters almost assassin momentum. It is a mutual almost any a chilmano, a den umbidi. Here they are cool, but a chilmane. Ya can be a chatan for no nay even no more your call Kede police station area. Master, Omutu car be do Hanumu and one no. Omonomba no much heavy. Ombetia no more sense as no. My sense is as Nina, I may be a bank to me do much many negu. Uka can almost say Kumasa Sura. Uka can see Kumasa Sura. It's no more yet, Yadun Buapa. Say, Momosa, say, mobile Cosonomaye.
Yakra, and yes, I will sucra, but I'm creating. And yet, and Yakra. That's Obedanka. Give me.
Away from Galamsey, let's move now to education, as junior high school graduates who are yet to be admitted in senior high schools have expressed frustration over the delay in the school selection process. They express fear of missing out on academic work as their colleagues have reported to school. There is more in the following report by Citi News' Rachel Engman and read by Eno Safo.
This year's computerized school selection 2023 The center, which will be in operation for 6 weeks, was set up by the Ghana Education Service to help with both self-placement and replacement of students in available schools in all categories except Category A schools. Parents and students continue to express disappointment at the system as they point out replacement of school, change of course, change of residential status, among others, as challenges they are facing. However, the Secretariat says it is working tirelessly to ensure that the process runs smoothly. When Citi News visited the School Placement Center at the Nat Hall on Friday, the atmosphere was filled with mixed reactions as some guardians and their wards thronged the place. Some guardians expressed worry about the slow pace of the placement process, while others were in a jubilant mood because they had received a placement of schools of their choice.
For me for the day, and I came here to change the school, but I filled the form, I give it to them since Monday. They told me by Friday, Thursday they will replace it for me, and I came here, they haven't done it, and today I'm here also. They said we should fill another form to submit to them. I've done it. They say I should go and check it. They has come, but I went there, I called my ward to check, but it hasn't come, so I have to inform the lady that the checking hasn't gone through. He said I should wait, by tomorrow it will come. But as I'm here, they tell me that Monday we should go and check again. And Monday the wards have to be in the school. And he's been crying all day, and parents, I'm frustrated, coming all the way from Central Region to come and just to check a placement. But it's not going through. So I don't know why I'm still here up to now. Yeah, he chose Accra Academy, he chose Wesley Grammar, and then Laboni Secondary School, yes. But they gave him Dansoma, Ebenezer Secondary for a day.
I'm going to choose my school or self-replacement. I was placed in Akas in Volta region, Akachi Senior High. I chose Akachi Senior High, Laboni Senior High, Ganata Senior High. When the results was out, I don't really like the school. I grade 29.
Speaking to Citi News, the Deputy Coordinator of the Free Senior High School, Nana Afrasika Mensah, urged parents and their wards to remain calm as the Secretariat resolves all hitches confronting the system.
So far, so good. We've done majority of the issues. I think 90% of the issues that came here. That is why we've even dispersed them early. We wanted to go and then resolve the backlog that we have. So I think so far, so good. We are making progress. We will sort them so they should stay calm. They will be fine.
Now, residents of McCarthy South, a community behind Malam Junction in the Wejagbawe municipality in the Greater Accra region, want authorities to urgently construct storm drains in the area to prevent flooding. The residents say most community members had to vacate their homes during last year's rainy season and do not want a repeat of that, hence the appeal. Our correspondent Calvin Tete has more in the following report.
The McCarthy South area, close to Malam Junction, is one of the areas that experiences massive flooding when it rains. During the rainy season last year, some homes within the McCarthy South enclave experienced devastating flooding. Occupants of some of the houses within the enclave were forced to vacate their homes. According to some residents who spoke to Citi News, the construction of adequate drains within the enclave is the solution to the problem. The residents, with support from the Wejagbawe Municipal Assembly, have taken some remedial steps by dredging storm drains within the enclave to reduce the impact when the rain begins. Here are some residents speaking to Citi News about the impact of
Some years back, everybody can attest to it that Malam Junction, there has been this flooding issue until when the government intervened, and then they did something about it, which is the main road. The main flooding was at the main road. That problem has been solved, and then here, the road, the water couldn't pass here well. So we will still appeal to the government. is doing well, but we should try as much as possible to come and do the gutter for us. If we are able to, dig the gutter before the rain, I don't think we will have any problem when the rain comes.
We have been going through so many challenges, so many flood issues has also taken so many people out of the area, and it looks like anytime we try for them to even get involved in helping to maybe work on the drainage, it has caused so many problems. It does not just flood in the area, it enters into their home, and some of them, I think, even me, my house, I think it's the worst issues for me. Even when the rain stopped, it was still in there because there were no much drainage that was connecting into the mainstream. Anytime it's about to rain, all you have to do is to start packing your things.
Papa, me den wura ho a be ye ware ho. Ma she ties nyina wo, ties ni nyina tutu. Me ntia konwa so. Me na mpa so, me na mattress so. School for die bi na makoto tia bi. Na me de to na mada. Nsuo mura na mabobo. Na me de ato, mabo shares wo ho. Na me de ato so. Na me pie, na me kope ba bi akotena. Nti yesra aban. Se nyame num lukuri ye bre. O twanani emfa mehwe ye wo area ha. Ni ye bre pa. Last nsu ye toye nyame num lukuri. Midwane ye.
The Wejagbawe Municipal Assembly says although the construction of big storm drain is beyond their capabilities, they will channel the request to the appropriate quarters for redress.
If you look at the government's plan when it comes to the Gamma and then the gas lake, some big rivers are going to have some big drains constructed on them. Those drains that they are mentioning is beyond the Assembly's financial capacity. So we've sent those proposals to the appropriate ministry to come in, which I believe yesterday the Minister for Works and Housing visited some areas, and I believe in no time those areas will have some drains like the ones that we have at Alajo, so that our people can have some relief anytime it rains or anytime the dam is.
The Wejagbawe Municipal Assembly and some residents within the Makati South area are dredging the gutter in the community. Community members are also advocating for a storm drain. Calvi Stete, Citi News, Wejagbawe.
The Rental Housing Association of Ghana is calling on government to begin publishing beneficiaries of the National Rental Assistance Scheme so far. The scheme was launched on January 31 to provide assistance to Ghanaians in securing accommodation. Speaking at a press conference, a board member of the association, Frederick Opoku, said the scheme must be transparent to engender trust in Ghanaians. There is more in the following report.
The National Rental Assistance System was established 3 weeks ago by the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to address the accommodation deficit of the country. Per the scheme, the total rent will be paid to the prospective landlord of the applicant, and the applicant in turn makes a monthly payment to the National Rental Assistance Scheme. Eligible people will need to have verifiable employment with an income.
Partnership with the private sector, and this is one of the novelties of this scheme, because government is working in partnership with the private sector. The scheme will provide low interest loans to eligible Ghanaians to enable them pay rent in advance. These loans will be repaid monthly.
However, some stakeholders are concerned about the feasibility and sustainability of the program. The Rental Housing Association of Ghana is one of such stakeholders.
There are certain areas of this scheme that must be looked into. Now, according to the current Rent Act, landlords cannot demand for rent advance of more than 6 months. But we here are all aware of what happens on the ground. Yet, the scheme provides funds for landlords to be paid rent advance for even up to 2 years, and this payment is made as a lump sum. This, we say, is total confusion and creates room for landlords to break the law. RAG is, however, also committed to educating all prospective tenants as well to desist from offering landlords more than the required 6 months rent advance.
The scheme is expected to be rolled out across the country, but will be piloted first in 5 regions, including the Greater Accra, imploring managers of the program to begin publishing beneficiaries.
We are here to see if indeed they said 5 to 10 days. We want them to publish by now how many people have been given the money, because people do not trust the system. But on the day of the land, some of us were there. We spoke on the high table in front of the vice president, the chief of staff, and all the high dignitaries or cabinet ministers, and that they say 5 to 10 days. We want to know now. It's almost 3 weeks later to 1 month. Have you received the first batch? Receive it or not? If not yet, then people begin to doubt it. So we hope government will run fast and do the needful.
The association also called for the speedy passage of the rent bill, which seeks to protect the welfare of tenants in Ghana.
We would also use this medium to thank government for the approval of the draft rent bill by cabinets, and we look forward to it being passed into law by Parliament within the shortest possible time. Ghana currently has a housing deficit of 1.8 million, with tenants, of course, being on the receiving end of the difficulties that this causes.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom on Citi TV, still to come. Lead radio pastor at Citi FM and leader of Cedar Mountain Chapel, Reverend Dr. Steven Wangam, inducted as new General Superintendent of the Assemblies of God.
Within the diner, when you are HIV infected, you know, no credit na adding years a major tune. A bram yen shishamuno. Ne drone ni baby, a dominancy, influence, a drop by our Ghana.
Paul, Tabran, Fiabiachi, na antiretroviral, no bindi ho. Na anida so ni ho my dache. The near junior one who are dying.
Me know of our area in fear dunum de honestly HIV positive. In fear do doing in antiretroviral, and we are saying in to say. Young family HIV mwawana se. She say your home IFA. Adia ba akoni say antiretroviral yi. Sa wono ne pepe say de ya kire na. Ekutia HIV mwawana. Abosumi sia wo ye hwehwe mu a. Emwa ne brase. Na ontimi san fama obi fufuro. Ne mo mwawana bi say. Onum antiretroviral no ne ye. Yetime to esase enfempim ye no ne aduasa.
A great journey lies ahead of us all, and we all have different paths carved out for us. No matter who you are and the path you're on, make sure you choose a partner you can trust, a partner with integrity who will always give you the support you need when you need it. No matter what you do and where you are in your journey in life, you are very significant, and so is the path you're on.
Consolidated Bank Ghana, CBG, cherishes financial security as much as you do and shares the same values as you. That is why we are the right financial partner to stand with you. We are now one of the largest banks in Ghana, and we are ready to partner and work with you. CBG, we stand with you.
Yeah, welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. Now, Ghana was thrown into a state of mourning following the confirmation of the death of Black Stars winger Christian Atsu after he passed away during an earthquake in Turkey. Many thronged to his family house at Obojo in Accra to commensurate with the family. However, the situation was different on Saturday as relatives of the late Atsu asked for space to meet and conclude on funeral arrangements. This report has the rest of the story. Exactly a week ago, the hopes of many Ghanaians, football lovers across the world and well-wishers were dashed as news broke of the death of football star Christian Atsu. He had died in an earthquake which happened in Turkey where he played his football. Today on the Citi Newsroom, we are here at the family house to catch a glimpse of his family members to find out how they are faring and dealing with their loss 1 week on. Hopefully, we may get to interact also with people who have come around to commensurate with the family. And hopefully, at the end of the day, we may get some updates on plans with the funeral. So we've come across one of the parliamentary aspirants for the Adentan constituency, Madame Linda Winnie, who's also come to commensurate with the family. We'll pick her thoughts on what she's observed so far and what
much.
So what time did you get here? What has been your observation so far?
Oh, we got here around 1 p.m. I think it's been a very overwhelming experience. People are here to support the family. I think Christian Atsu was a well-known person in Ghana in terms of football, and we've lost a hero. I think the events leading to his demise has really put some of us in a very sad state. We all had hopes that eventually he was going to be found alive. Unfortunately, God has his ways. So we've been here, we've seen people come in and out, trying to support the family in ways that they can, just as we've also done.
We have Ibeadem also here, who a few minutes ago was signing the book of condolence. How did that experience feel for you?
I mean, life is unbelievable, you know, and I think I'll keep it at a few words. Yeah, life is just unbelievable.
You know, it was a shock that Saturday when the news came out. How did you feel when you received that news?
I had mixed reactions, you know, very, very mixed reactions. I was at the same time extremely hopeful. I think I was hopeful because he's a good person, so I felt that being somebody with goodwill is supposed to always save you in situations of very devastating consequences, but quite unfortunately, God had other plans.
So we are now with a family member of the late Christian Atsu to find out how the family is faring 1 week after the confirmation of his demise. You're welcome to the Citi Newsroom.
Thank you, sir.
We know it's been a whole 7 days since he passed, since his death was confirmed. How is the family still dealing with the loss?
Everybody is trying to be strong, especially in these times. He has a wife and kids, and I think in as much as we are all dealing with the pain and the grief, we have to be strong and be strong for the children also, because they are not all that old and they don't seem to understand what is going on.
We noticed that today the visits have been a bit slow. How are you responding to all of that?
Today, actually, as you could see, most of the meetings are sort of private meetings for the family. So most people that called that they had wanted to visit, we proposed to them if Monday would be okay for them, and majority of them accepted. Everybody is trying to be strong. The wife is trying her best to be strong for her, for the kids. It's not been easy for her, but day in, day out, she's doing her best. She's trying her best to be strong for them.
Should we expect them in town soon?
Everything will depend on what happens on Monday, but by Monday we would know everything and then know how we'll proceed with everything.
It's been a week since the confirmation of the passing of footballer Christian Atsu, yet the weight of his absence remains heavy on the heart of his family, those who loved him for the craft that he exhibited, and for those who loved him for the kindness that he showed. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Michael Obodu. The newly inducted General Superintendent of the Assemblies of God Ghana, Reverend Dr. Steven Wangam, is calling for a stakeholder collaboration to restore peace in the troubled Boko Township in the Upper East region. In recent times, a crisis in Boko has been exacerbated, a situation security analysts have described as worrying. Speaking at his induction ceremony, the new General Superintendent of the Assemblies of God Church Ghana, Reverend Dr. Wangam, called for a ceasefire in the troubled Boko area. Nashika Caesar was at the event and has the rest of the story.
The Assemblies of God Ghana on Saturday inducted Reverend Dr. Steven Wangam as the new General Superintendent of the church. Also, newly elected executives of the Assemblies of God Ghana were inducted in a grand ceremony that was well attended by several dignitaries across the globe. In attendance was the former President John Dramani Mahama, the former Chief Justice Georgina Theodora Wood, as well as many foreign dignitaries. Reverend Wangam is also the lead pastor of the Cedar Mountain Chapel, and he replaces Reverend Professor Yao Frimpong Manson, who served the church in that capacity for 12 years. He was sworn in by the General Superintendent of the Assemblies of God Tanzania, Reverend Barnabas Ntwambili, who also doubles as the President of Africa Assemblies of God Alliance. The newly inducted General Superintendent of the Ghana Assemblies of God, Reverend Dr. Steven Wangam, expressed his gratitude and promised to diligently serve the church.
The transformation agenda is not a hollow rhetoric or an empty slogan. It is an achievable and measurable goal that will be pursued with all tenacity and intensity. Last month, Assemblies of God Ghana held a week-long fasting and prayer session with particular focus on the nation. We will not flinch from scaling our prayers for Ghana to come out of the bitter cost of living crisis and extremely difficult economic circumstances. On Boko again, we know with keen interest the withdrawal of the court order issued for the arrest of a new Boko Naba. This development does not obscure the fact that the Boko conflict is potentially corrosive to Ghana's reputation. No efforts should be spared at containing the hypersensitive and supremely complex situation which threatens to cascade into security challenges of unthinkable proportions.
Speaking at the event, former President John Dramani Mahama pledged his support to help the church build infrastructure across the country.
The baton has been handed over to Reverend Wangam, and when he was giving his State of the Nation address, he talked about the centenary village. And I know that some churches have convention centers and places like that, beautiful places like that. And I note the church of my former chairman, the Pentecost Church, have a very beautiful convention center outside Kaswa there somewhere. But I spoke with Reverend Wangam and we conspired, and I'm telling Elder Ofosuampofo to tell Reverend Nyamiche that our centenary village is going to be bigger and more beautiful than your convention center. And may it not suffer the fate of some national cathedrals that I know. We shall build this one, and I'll be one of the chief fundraisers. So, Reverend Wangam,
of the New York Assemblies of God, USA, expressed confidence
served by Dr. Wangam's leadership and taken to new levels of effectiveness to penetrate society with the gospel and the advance of the cause of Christ. Indeed, Dr. Wangam has demonstrated the highest levels of faithfulness, endurance, and leadership excellence over the tenure of his ministry at Cedar Mountain Chapel, Global Leadership Training West Africa, and the Assemblies of God, Ghana. We are certain the character of this choice servant of God has been perfectly tuned by the Holy Spirit to support the increase of anointing and global influence associated with this high office.
Well, that will be all for today's edition of the Citi Newsroom here on Citi TV. Our website, citinewsroom.com, has more information on our top stories and more. Subscribe to Citi Tube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV. You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363 and on GoTV channel 182. Well, my name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please stay safe.